So here in this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to move up the fretboard with chords. Basically, how you can take chords you know down here and play the exact same chords as you're moving up the fretboard, which is going to allow you to play more melody lines over and keeping the same harmony, and also do more with the bass, and also just play more in this range of the guitar. So to start, I'll assume that you know these chords. Open position is E major, A major, D major, right? G major, C major, and F major. So notice here I'm playing the bottom half of F major, same as this. Okay. So these 6 for major, and then the corresponding minor chords. So E minor, A minor, D minor, right? For this you would have G minor, right? So that's G major, G minor, right? C minor. So for this one, notice I'm only playing the middle 4 strings. I'm not playing the bottom and top E because that would clash with the chord, right? And here F minor. So for this illustration, I'm going to start with the C major chord. So C major played like this, and C major played like this, right? So the key idea here is that you know how every string goes up to the 12th fret, right? So what that means is if you start from here, E, and just go up all the way, right, you get back to E, and you cycle through every single note. So that means that on every single string you can play any note, right? So if I want to play C, I can play it on the E string, right, or on the A string, or I can find it here on the D string, right, G string, B string, E string, high E string again, right? So basically, to find all the chord positions, you can think of taking the note that you're looking for on the bass string, right? Let's say on these top 3 strings, and building C chords around it. Now, for every position of a note, as long as it's not an open string, there's 2 ways to build a chord, right? One of them is going up this way, so that would be here using the A major shape, right? Or going down this way using this shape, right? Those are the 2 shapes for the A string. For the E string, the 2 shapes you're going to use are this kind of common E major shape and then the G major shape. So once I find C up here, I use this shape, right? Or I can do this barred G major position, right? So far the chords I have are this, right? It's not visible, E major shape, G major shape, A major shape, standard C major, right? And then once I get to the D string, here's my C, right up here on the 10th fret. The shape going down from there is just going to be the exact same as the bottom half of the E shape, right? So it's actually the same as this chord, just the high part, right? And then the shape going up, I'm going to make the D major shape. So just to review. Right, we have these 6 shapes for now. So now let me do the same for minor. Again, I'll take C. So, right, the C minor shape can be a bit awkward. You have to do this stretch, which can be kind of hard, and you can't play the whole. If you play the whole thing, you get this kind of strange chord that's both major and minor, and then you also have the major 3rd on the bass. So, it is a chord that's used, but it's not as common as other ones. But for this, you just want to play to get the minor chord, the middle 4 strings. Right? That's my C major, C minor shape going down, and then you have this C minor going up, like going this way. You can just kind of common A minor shape. Up here in the C, I'm just going to use this shape, right? And then here. So again, for this shape, to play the whole thing, to make this, you probably wouldn't do it for strumming because you'd have to lay down the pinky, and that's pretty hard. Right? This shape you would use more if you're only playing the some of the strings, right? The top 4 strings. The advantage of this is you can get the C on the high part of this chord and still have a full chord, whereas you can't have that with this shape because you have to go like that, right? So that's the point of this chord. So far we have this. Right, now C up here, and then this is, you know, just doing the D minor shape from the C. So that gives basically 6 different ways to play C major and C minor going up the fretboard. So knowing these basically allows you to kind of have any melody and bass over any harmony that you want. So it's basically expanding the range of the guitar a lot. Very similar to what a piano player can do, right? On piano, you can have control over, you know, the right hand can do whatever, and the left hand can be playing any chord, right? So this is kind of achieving a similar effect, meaning when you play A minor, if this is the only position you know, you're pretty much limited to having that note on top, right? And being in this range. Now, if you want to play A minor, right, you can play any of those options according to what the next chord that's going to come is. So let me show you some quick exercises to build this, to kind of get used to it. So think of right, that just kind of arpeggiating E minor on the high E string. So what you can do is the chord I'm playing up here, I'm just going like that, just playing all, you know, the low E string and G, B, and E strings on the 12th string, so 12th fret. So it's, you know, on this guitar it's kind of hard to play the full E minor chord 12 frets up, but it's the same thing I'm doing, right? So right, now you can do the same thing with major, so E major. Here I'm playing this C major shape, right, with this note as the root. Right, and you can do the same thing doing arpeggiation on the bass. Right, so so these end up being inversions because you're having a different note on the root note than the root, right? Or you're having a different note on the bass than the root. So in this chord, the C major shape, the root is actually here, and what you have here is the third on the root. Right. So that's one approach, is just taking one chord and kind of working through all the variations of it. I mean, all the different places you can play it from. And then, you know, a lot of times you get this kind of arpeggiation on the melody line, right? You know, depending on your right hand technique, you can also start doing stuff like that, right? So rather than strumming, you can pick particular notes. That also gives more of a melody line, right? Another approach you can do this is to take 2 chords, or, you know, even a whole chord progression, and work through different ways of playing it up and down the fretboard. So let's take, for example, C major to A minor. Right. So this is the standard way you can play it. You can basically start from there, and then go right. Right. I mean, this isn't a set path. It's just basically generally always moving to the next chord. Whether if you're at C major, move to A minor. If you're at A minor, move to C major, and go a bit higher up the fretboard. There's a lot of different paths you could take, and a lot of different melodies on the bass. You know, a lot of different bass lines you could come up with this. And once you understand this logic, you can do this with any set of 2 chords or 3 chords. And you just have to remember there's always, you know, you have every note on every string, and you can always build the same chord either by going down that way or up this way. And once you get that, there's a lot of different, you know, you can play every chord in a lot of different ways, and so you can get a lot of different progressions from there.